state, how do you believe you would appeal to U.S. citizens who are of non-Christian religions?
I think the answer to that is simply the assurance that our government will not interfere in their free right to practice their religion as they so choose. I mean, that's what the Constitution says. The Congress shall not establish a national religion, shall not interfere. And so I think it's really that simple, giving folks that assurance that in America you can in fact practice your religion as you choose.
And I think a lot of the answer to this question was handled in some of our other questions that we answered as well, and that we recognize the importance of the Constitution and the guidance that it gives of freedom of religion, not freedom from religion, and that those are rights that we firmly believe in. They have to elect a candidate that they know, believes, and understands the Constitution and is willing to stand on and make decisions that way. Obviously, they want to support someone, and I would call myself that person that they could look to and know that there's someone who would best represent what the Constitution says about our country and the rights that it guarantees.
Well, I relate to him the same way I relate to my Democratic neighbor when we help each other shovel the driveway. That's by respecting what they believe in but disagreeing, and showing them that I'm willing to uphold the law, which is that we shall establish no law that tells you you have to be of one religion or another, freedom of religion, upholding the very same principles that we referred to earlier, and respecting their viewpoints. Doesn't mean I have to change mine. In fact, mine will remain steadfast. But it does mean that you have to show respect for everyone that you deal with. And that includes when it breaks down to party discussions. If you have to discuss something with someone from the other side of the aisle, it even extends to that. Respecting the person, respecting what they believe in, but not necessarily agreeing with it.
What is your strategy for defeating the incumbent, and what is your greatest weakness in that regard, and how would you overcome it?
Yeah. My strategy for defeating the incumbent this fall is going to be to hold her accountable to how she's been voting in Washington, D.C. That's something that the people of South Dakota haven't been talking about a lot over the past several years that she's been representing us. But we need to know, and we need to talk about a lot, that the fact that our Congresswoman votes with Nancy Pelosi 95% of the time. And I think everybody in this room would agree that Nancy Pelosi does not fight for South Dakota's agenda or for South Dakota priorities. She's been the chief architect of a lot of legislation that's come down and has been proven to be extremely detrimental for this state. Yet when our Congresswoman is voting, she is overwhelmingly voting with her and voting with her on bills and legislation. And we need to make sure that the people in South Dakota are talking about that they recognize that it's still the people's house, it's not Nancy Pelosi's house. And we need a strong candidate who's willing to go toe-to-toe with her and to say, absolutely, the people of South Dakota want their seat back, and they want their voice back. They want somebody there who not only has legislative experience, who's proven to them that they're a person of solution, a person who has stepped forward and been a leader, but they want somebody who also has some common sense and some business experience, who knows what it's like to have a budget, to be responsible for a payroll, to have people depending on you to make wise decisions. And I think the people of South Dakota also want someone who lives here in South Dakota representing them. They want somebody who grew up here, who is living here, running businesses here, and raising their family here. And they know and understand that people will only really fight for them when they understand what they're going through on a daily basis. So my strategy is simply to hold her accountable to how she's been representing us, and I think the people of South Dakota will vote for me and support me because they recognize the importance of having a voice in the House.
What about the weakness question?
Oh. Boy, I would say that in this year and in this election year, normally, typically in politics, people would say your biggest weakness would be that you haven't been in Congress or that you're not the incumbent. But I don't think that's a weakness this year. I think people are looking for someone who don't have a career in politics. So this year I don't believe I have a biggest weakness where that comes from. People recognize the importance of having business experience and common sense, and that's what they want in Washington, D.C.
We've got a tremendously talented person that's representing South Dakota right now, a very, very smart woman. We should not underestimate her. She is tough and very bright. And she is a tested, re-elected incumbent member of Congress.